My friend, lean in close. Stop what you're doing and listen not just with your ears, but with the part of you that has been quietly waiting for exactly this moment. Something is shifting. Not maybe, not hopefully. Something is shifting. Right now, beneath the surface of the life you can see, in the invisible architecture of what is becoming, forces greater than your circumstances are already moving on your behalf. You have been waiting, sometimes patiently, sometimes with clenched fists and a heart full of unanswered prayers. You have hoped when hope felt foolish. You have held on when everything in you wanted to let go. And now the moment has arrived that all of that waiting was preparing you for. A miracle is unfolding in your life, not by chance, not by luck, not by coincidence, by divine certainty, by the immutable law that says what you hold as true within you must become true around you, by the quiet, sovereign power of God that does not need your understanding to operate, only your faith. But here is what you must understand, what most people go a lifetime without grasping. Life does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are. If you continue to see yourself as one who struggles, one who lacks, one who is perpetually on the outside of blessing looking in reality, will faithfully, relentlessly reflect exactly that. Not because life is cruel, because life is precise, because the universe is not a lottery, it is a mirror. The moment you shift, the moment you dare to assume that what you desire is not coming but is already yours, the entire structure of reality begins to rearrange itself around your new assumption. This is not wishful thinking. This is the law by which all creation operates. So right now, in this very moment, before another breath passes, begin to feel your miracle as though it has already happened. Close your eyes if you need to. Step into the version of yourself who has already received. Feel the weight of worry lift from your shoulders. Feel the relief of a prayer answered, the quiet joy of a burden set down, the deep exhale of someone who has been running and has finally arrived. The doors that were sealed are now open. The path that was obscured is now luminous and clear. The abundance, the healing, the love, it is done. Say that quietly to yourself. Right now, it is done. Do not be deceived by what your eyes currently show you. The absence of visible evidence is not the absence of movement. The unseen is more powerful, more real, more active than anything the physical world has yet produced. The invisible is where the true work is always done. Your only assignment, your single sacred task, is to remain unwavering in that knowing. Do not beg, do not chase, do not interrogate the heavens for a timetable. Be still and know. Stand in the unshakable certainty that your miracle is not on its way, it is here. And when doubt rises, because it will meet it not with argument but with gratitude, speak over it. Say aloud, with the quiet confidence of someone stating an obvious fact, thank you, it is done. And watch what happens to the doubt. Watch what happens to the room. The moment you assume that what you desire is already yours, truly assume it, not as a performance but as a settled inner conviction, the entire machinery of creation shifts into alignment with you. There is no need to search for signs. There is no need to wait for proof. The very act of assuming completion is itself the signal that sets the unseen forces into motion. What you hold as real within must be reflected without. This is not a possibility. It is not sometimes true. It is the great and immovable law. What you assume with genuine conviction hardens into fact. Most people spend their lives waiting for conditions to improve before they believe, waiting for circumstances to align before they feel hopeful, waiting for something external to give them permission to trust. They say, in effect, show me first, and then I will believe. But this is exactly backward. This is precisely why they continue to wait. The physical world is always responding to the internal world, always, without exception. It cannot show you something that your inner world has not first declared. If you insist on waiting for proof before believing, you have placed yourself in an unbreakable loop because the proof cannot arrive until the belief is already present. You must first assume, then life reflects the assumption. To assume is to take possession mentally and emotionally before it becomes visible. It means stepping into the feeling of already having, already being, already experiencing what you seek, not as imagination, but as conviction. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to engineer anything. You need only to dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, to make your home there, to become so familiar with that inner reality that the outer reality begins to feel like it is simply catching up. Think of someone who desires wealth, but carries inside them a deep, unexamined belief that they are the kind of person who struggles. No matter how hard they work, no matter what opportunities present themselves, that inner assumption will find a way to confirm itself. The belief is more powerful than the effort. The assumption is always running the show. Now imagine that same person in the same circumstances, with the same bank account, makes a different choice. Instead of waiting for the numbers to change before feeling financially free, they begin to think, speak, and move as someone who already inhabits abundance. They stop the internal narration of scarcity. They replace the familiar anxiety with a chosen quiet confidence. They stop checking and start knowing. And over time, sometimes quickly, sometimes gradually, their external world begins to rearrange itself to match the new internal truth. Connections appear, ideas surface, doors open from the inside. This is how miracles work. Not from effort, not from desperation, from alignment. Think of an actor who is to play a confident, successful, fully alive human being. They do not walk onto the stage still being themselves, hoping the character will eventually show up. They become the character. They embody it so completely that the character's truth becomes their truth. You are being invited to do exactly this. Assume the role of the person who already has what they desire. If you seek love, assume you are already deeply, genuinely loved. If you desire healing, assume you are already whole. If you want success, assume it is already woven into the fabric of your story, and then feel it. This is everything. The feeling is what gives the assumption its creative power. The universe does not respond to words, it responds to states of being. When you feel it deeply enough that it becomes your natural inner climate, you have changed your vibration, and the world must change with it. Do not look for evidence. Do not check for progress. These are the gestures of doubt, and doubt delays everything. Instead, relax into the certainty that it is accomplished. Act as though you have received, because in the dimension that matters most, you already have. The more natural this assumption becomes, the faster it takes form in the world you can see. Your faith is not a peripheral thing. It is the foundation upon which your entire experience of reality is built. Every circumstance you encounter, every situation that finds you, every pattern that keeps repeating, all of it is the physical expression of what you hold as true in your heart. You are not separate from your desires, waiting for them to cross the distance and reach you. You are the one determining how much distance exists between you and them. The miracle is not coming from outside. The miracle is already within you, waiting for your faith to be the force that brings it into form. Most people move through life believing that reality is something that happens to them, a fixed set of conditions they must navigate, react to, survive. They believe their circumstances determine what is possible, and so they hand authority over their lives to fear, to limitation, to the evidence of what has already been. But reality is not fixed. It has never been fixed. It is fluid, responsive, alive, shaped continuously by the deepest convictions of the one moving through it. What you hold as true in your heart will materialize in your world. This is not philosophy. This is not metaphor. It is the law by which all things come into existence. Faith is not hope with a pleasant feeling attached. Faith is knowing, a deep, quiet, unassailable certainty that what you desire is already yours, not because you can see it, but because you have decided it is true, and nothing in the visible world has the authority to overrule that decision. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. And the moment you fully inhabit it, without contradiction, without the constant undercurrent of but what, if it doesn't come, what you believe must become real. Imagine a person who carries the conviction that they are always unlucky. Watch them closely, and you will see something remarkable. They will find a way to turn every opportunity into confirmation of that belief. They will arrive 1 minute late to the interview. They will say the wrong thing at exactly the right moment to undo the connection. They will interpret every ambiguity as further evidence of their curse. Not because they are foolish, because their assumption is more powerful than their circumstances, and their assumption is running the show. Now watch someone who carries the deep, settled belief that everything works out for them. Watch how they move through the same world, the setbacks, the rejections, the complications. They do not crumble because they do not take setbacks as the final word. They expect the turn, and the turn comes. Not because they are luckier, because they are calibrated differently. Life bends toward their assumption just as it bends toward yours. Faith does not create by requiring proof first. It creates the proof. When you truly believe, you act differently. You speak differently. You notice different things. You are drawn toward different choices, and different choices draw you toward different outcomes. Faith is not passive hoping. It is the active, invisible force that reshapes the trajectory of your life. And faith is unwavering. This is the part that most people miss. If you declare you are healed, but spend the day cataloging symptoms, you are not in faith. You are in doubt wearing the costume of faith. If you affirm wealth, but carry the quiet anxiety of someone who doesn't have enough, you are still inside the assumption of lack. True faith does not shift with appearances. It does not renegotiate when the evidence is slow to arrive. It stands. It persists. It refuses to accept the current reflection as the permanent truth. Your miracle is not something distant. It is not something that will arrive after a long enough waiting period. It is already present, already complete, in the unseen, waiting only for your faith to make it visible. The moment you claim it, without hesitation, without the asterisk of but what if, it moves toward you with a force that nothing in the physical world can stop. Guard your mind as you would guard something precious. The world will try constantly, casually, relentlessly to convince you that what you believe is impossible, that you should be realistic, that you should accept things as they are. But the world is only showing you the reflection of old beliefs. It is not showing you what is becoming. Change what you hold as true, and what the world shows you must change. Let your faith be your guide, not your circumstances. Let the inner knowing be more real to you than anything your senses currently report. Your miracle is already here. It is waiting for you to believe it into being visible. Doubt is the only wall between you and what is already yours. Let that settle. Not fear, not fate, not circumstance, not bad luck or wrong timing or someone else's decision. Doubt. Your own uncertainty is the single force that delays the miracle that is already in motion. The moment you silence the doubt, the moment you stop cross-examining the universe about when and how, and are you sure you step out of the way? And when you step out of the way, the power that is greater than any obstacle, greater than any fear, greater than any limitation, moves through you with effortless precision. Most people live in a painful oscillation. They pray for something, then worry about whether it will come. They visualize, then look for evidence, and when they don't see it immediately, they conclude something is wrong. They affirm in the morning and doubt by afternoon. And this constant back and forth, this failure to commit, this wavering between belief and skepticism is like planting a seed and digging it up every day to check on the roots. The seed cannot grow if you keep interrupting it. The only way to receive your miracle is to plant the seed and leave it. Trust the process you cannot see. The root system is forming underground, in the invisible, in the place where all real work is done before it becomes visible. Your only task is to continue watering it with faith and refuse to dig it up with doubt. Certainty is not arrogance. Certainty is alignment. When you decide with absolute finality that what you desire is already on its way, when you stop treating it as a possibility and start treating it as a certainty, you remove the energetic resistance that was creating the delay. You are no longer sending a mixed signal. You are no longer telling the universe one thing with your words and another thing with your worry. You are fully, cleanly, completely aligned. And alignment is where miracles live. You do not need to understand how it will happen. In fact, trying to micromanage the how is one of the primary ways people interfere with their own miracles. The how is not your department. The how belongs to the power that is greater than your planning, more creative than your strategizing, more resourceful than your most elaborate scheme. Your department is simply the what and the knowing. Know what you desire, know it is done, and then get out of the way with grace. Think of water. A river does not force its way to the sea. It does not argue with the rocks or rage against the soil. It simply flows, following the path of least resistance. Always moving, always finding a way. When you stop fighting, stop forcing, stop filling every moment with anxious management of the outcome, you become like water. You flow. And the miracle flows with you. Consider someone who desires healing. If they continue to check their body for symptoms, to compare today's condition to yesterday's, to scan every sensation for confirmation that something is still wrong, they are living inside the assumption of illness. Every check is a small declaration. I do not believe I am healed. But if they choose in full faith, before physical evidence arrives, to accept their healing as already accomplished, something begins to shift. The body responds to belief in ways that medicine continues to find astonishing. The assumption changes the inner climate. The inner climate changes everything else. This is not pretending. This is not denial of what is. This is choosing which reality to dwell in, the one that is fading, or the one that is arriving. The one rooted in what has been, or the one rooted in what God has already declared done. Be still. This is where the greatest power lives, not in striving, not in noise, not in the frantic energy of someone trying to make something happen. The deepest creative force in the universe moves through stillness. When you are quiet inside, when you have released the worry, surrendered the need to control, let go of the questions that have no answer, yet you create a channel through which the miracle can move without obstruction. To be still is not passivity. It is not indifference. It is the highest form of trust. It is standing in the complete confidence that everything is already unfolding in your favor, even when you cannot see the unfolding. It is the posture of someone who has already received, relaxed, present, at peace, needing nothing more from the world than what is already on its way. When you reach this place, doors open. Not metaphorically, actual doors, actual opportunities, actual connections, actual shifts in circumstance that you could not have forced open with any amount of effort. Because you have stopped fighting the current, and the current has begun to carry you exactly where you are meant to go. Release the need to understand every step. Release the need to see around every corner. Trust the power that has always been working in your favor, even in the seasons when it was hard to feel. Trust it completely, and let your only remaining work be this: to remain in the knowing, to keep the inner climate of certainty alive, to refuse the invitation of doubt when it knocks, as it will, at the door of your mind. Your miracle is not something you must earn or prove yourself worthy of. or wait in anguish to receive. It is already here, already accomplished in the dimension where all things are first made real. All that remains is for your faith to make it visible. Gratitude is the key that opens the door the rest of the way. Not gratitude as a performance, not gratitude as a technique you apply because someone told you it works. Gratitude is a state of being, as the natural inner weather of someone who already knows they have received. Here is the thing that most people have backward. They believe gratitude is the appropriate response to receiving something. I will be grateful when it arrives. But gratitude as a response to evidence is the smallest, least powerful form of gratitude. The gratitude that changes everything, the gratitude that carries genuine creative force, is the kind that arrives before the evidence. The gratitude that says, I can feel it, I know it is done, and I am already giving thanks. This kind of gratitude is not just an emotion, it is a declaration. It is a statement to the universe made not with words, but with the felt reality of your inner state that the manifestation is already complete. When you feel genuine gratitude for something you have not yet seen, you have moved out of the state of longing and into the state of having. And it is the state of having that draws more of the same. The universe reads your state, not your words. If you are in a state of longing of I want this, I don't have this, when will this come? That is the signal that goes out, and life returns more reasons to long. But if you are in a state of grateful possession of this is mine, I can feel it, I give thanks, that signal goes out, and life returns confirmation of your gratitude. More arrives to be grateful for. The abundance increases, the love deepens, the healing progresses. Think of someone who desires financial freedom but spends every day in the tight, contracted energy of there is not enough. Every bill is confirmation. Every unexpected expense is proof. Every day the script repeats, and the outer world confirms what the inner world believes. Now imagine that same person making a single, sustained, genuine shift. They look at what they already have, however small, and they feel real gratitude for it. Not performed gratitude, not forced positivity, but the genuine recognition that even this, even here, there is something to appreciate. And from that recognition, something loosens. The contracted feeling opens slightly. The energy of scarcity begins, very slowly, to give way to something else. And as it gives way, as the inner state shifts from lack to appreciation, the outer world begins to answer differently. Life always gives you more of whatever you are in the energy of. Gratitude is the purest form of abundance energy there is. When you are truly grateful, you are not in lack. You cannot be in both simultaneously. And the moment you are no longer in the energy of lack, the things that belong to abundance are free to find you. This is why gratitude is not the reward at the end of manifestation. It is the engine of manifestation. It collapses the timeline. It removes doubt by filling the space where doubt lives with a feeling so whole, so complete, so full that there is no room left for uncertainty. When you are genuinely, deeply grateful, not for what is coming, but for what you already know is done, doubt has nowhere to stand. Feel it now, not later when you can see it. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Let your mind go to the specific thing you desire, the specific miracle you have been holding in your heart. And instead of seeing it as something out ahead of you, see it as something already received, already given, already present in your life. And let the gratitude for that rise up through your body. Let it fill your chest. Let it change the temperature of your inner world. Sit in that feeling for as long as you can. Let it become familiar. Let it become your new resting state. Because whatever your dominant inner state is, that is what life is always building toward. That is what the universe is reading. That is the signal that goes out and returns with everything that matches it. If your dominant state is waiting and wondering, life keeps you waiting. If your dominant state is grateful and receiving, life keeps you receiving. The choice is yours to make, and you can make it right now, regardless of what your bank account says, regardless of what the doctor said, regardless of what the relationship currently looks like, regardless of any evidence the physical world is currently presenting. The physical world is always showing you the past. Your inner state is always creating the future. Choose gratitude, not as an emotion to manufacture, but as the natural overflow of someone who genuinely knows the miracle is already mine. I can feel it. It is done, and I give thanks. Walk in that. Wake up inside that. Move through your days from inside that. And watch, with a heart already full of appreciation, as reality rushes to match the truth you have already chosen to inhabit. Let me gather these truths and hand them to you plainly, as a gift for the road ahead. Your reality is shaped by your inner world, completely, without exception. Miracles do not come from effort or suffering. They arise from alignment, the deep, clean alignment of someone whose inner knowing and outer expectation have become one unified, uncontradicted truth. The unseen is more real than the seen. What you cannot yet observe is not evidence of absence. It is evidence of a process underway in the dimension where all creation begins, before it becomes visible in the world you walk through. You do not need to chase. You do not need to beg. You do not need to engineer or manipulate or force. You need only to assume it is done, to silence the doubt when it rises, and to rest in the unshakable knowing that all things are already working together in your favor. Be still, not the stillness of defeat, but the stillness of complete trust, the stillness of someone who has surrendered the need to control the process because they know, truly know, that the process is in far better hands than theirs. And give thanks. Now, before the evidence arrives, give thanks as though the answer is already in your hands. Because in the dimension that matters most in the invisible, where all real creation happens, it already is. The power has always been within you, not someday, not after you fix the right things or prove yourself worthy. It has always been there, always operating, always producing the reality that matches your deepest convictions. You have simply not always known you were the one directing it. Now you know. Shift your state of being, and the world must conform. Walk in the awareness that your miracle is not coming, it has already arrived. Hold the vision. Trust the process. Let your faith be the bridge between the life you have and the life that has already been prepared for you. What you seek is already seeking you. Your miracle is not on its way. It is here. This is Never Lectures. I'll see you again in the next video.